What's up everybody, Rackwitz here. The last few videos we talked about, or I introduced you to our gamification methodologies, how we are getting started, how we are breaking down activities in order to be able to build it up again with game thinking in mind. And the response was amazing. So especially we had a few teachers who called back or wrote us back or tweeted even and said they were really inspired by this introduction, and now they are thinking about how to gamify their lessons. And this would be the most amazing achievement for me personally, as I think that playing games or being involved in an activity that's gamified and learning is a native match. And so if you want to keep students, people engaged in learning and started to learn better, we really have to think about the role model of games and how they can achieve a better learning within their players. So if you remember the last time or the last 2 or 3 videos, we also talked about how to build up, how to create a progress tree for every given activity. And let me show you. This is what I'm talking about, some kind of progress tree. Okay, so we talked about how to break down your lesson into different disciplines, different milestones, and then build it up into some kind of a progress tree so that everything comes together and people and your students can achieve some kind of progress. And not just a linear progress, but also a more complex progress, a progress where they can decide which way to go. That's a very important part for creating autonomy in learning. And talking about progress, I don't know anymore who said that, but once a few months or even a year ago, I read or I heard someone saying that progress isn't about doing things, it is about change things in a positive way. And so that's what I'm talking about. So it's really about, with every step you're providing someone to progress, you're opening new opportunities for him. You can show him which new ways to go. If he wants to go straight into one discipline, if he wants to go to change the way and go back and take on another branch or whatever of the progress tree. So this is one part. Now, to add more value to the progress, I want to tell you about 2 more approaches. The first thing is, let's imagine let's stay with the example of lectures. So let's imagine you have broken down your curriculum, you have added it up, built it up again, like I showed you in the last videos, to achieve that kind of progress tree for your students, pupils, whatever. So now there's another thing that you could think about. Gabe Sickerman once said, he calls it SAPS. It's an acronym, and the acronym stands for Stuff, Access, Power, and Status. It's in this kind of order. It's from the least effective, let's say, not reward, but feedback, to the most effective feedback. So if I give you something like a stuff, you get something, you get points, you get a toaster for free or whatever. In the first moment, you're excited. In the second moment, it's gone. We get used to that kind of extrinsic rewards. And then we have access, so access to different kind of information, different kind of customers, different kind of tools, whatever. Then we have some kind of power. Now you can decide which way to go, you can decide what kind of problem to tackle, you can perhaps decide who is in what team, whatever. And then there's status. Status is the acknowledgement from your peers that you know something. And I mean, it's really about the acknowledgement. It doesn't mean that it's not enough if you say, hey, now you have the status, but everyone else thinks, I'm not really sure if he has the status. So it's really about the acknowledgement. So it's really something that you have to earn over time. It can't be just given to someone. And so it's status, access, power, and access, power, and status. Of course, power and access, for example, are interchangeable, so it depends on the context, I think. But let's stay with these 4 levels or layers, and now, even better, let's only keep 3 of them. I want you to forget totally about the first one, stuff. Don't think anymore about extrinsic rewards. And yeah, we come to that in a minute. Okay, so we only have 3 of that. So we have access, power, and status. So now look at your progress tree, and then you could think about different layers that you can achieve. So let's say someone already went through the first 2 steps. So it's the onboarding phase or whatever. And now the first layer starts. So let's say it's about access. Here it's about access. The most important thing I want to mention here is that it's not about that you're giving someone access as a reward to what he has already achieved. From my thinking, it's about now giving someone access for the next steps to come. So we have already talked about that I think gamification is really not about rewarding people. It's not about the event when you have finished something. It's much more about focusing on the activity itself. So what I mean by that is, if someone performs something, achieves something, and then you say, hey, here's a reward for that, you're really focusing on the event of getting it, not of the process of getting there. But instead of that, if you change the perspective, and you say that, okay, now I give you something, but that's not as a reward for what you have already achieved, but now it's a tool for what's going to come. This is when you start to focus totally much more on the activity itself that stays in front of you. And I think this really matches with the sentence that progress is about changing things in a positive way. Okay, so he has achieved the first 2 steps. Now he's diving deeper into the whole material. It's getting more complex and whatever. And now you're giving him access as some kind of tool to be able to tackle or to get on the next challenges. So access means, for example, here's the software, or here's material that you can look now on. The point is, in our mind, we think, okay, now we earned it to get the access. So we are proud of having it. So even if it becomes now much more difficult or more complex, we are proud of it. And it's not because the teacher just wants us to do more, it's because we earned our way into the much more complex stuff. So and then you say, okay, here's material, it's good for the next layer. And now let's say the next one, it depends on you. What's your topic, what you want them to do, and so on. And now the next layer starts here. And so here we say it's about power. So now you have the access to material, much more resources, much more information, another software, whatever, and you were able to finish this kind of milestone together with these 3 different disciplines. So if you want to go deeper to that, just watch the last 2 or 3 videos that we did. There we talked all about that. Then now you unlock the next tool that you can have. It's some kind of power. Let's say now you can use the teacher as some kind of joker, or you can decide how to go on from this point on, or you can decide who's on your team or whatever. It's a little bit of, you have more stakes into the project, and this of course is deepening the emotional connection with the topic that you're trying to solve and yourself as a student. And then if you go through all of that, even if it's not finished here, if it's good, then there's a next layer and there's a status. The point is, you have to earn your status. And this means it should be hard to go there. And with hard, I don't mean that it's just about you're doing the same stuff like here, but now in a much more quantitative way. It's about qualitative challenge, right? It's about the people want to know that, hey, you were able to dig into something, into a topic. And it could be that you're becoming an expert into a particular topic. It also could be that you are the one who is helping the group, so you are the socializer in the team. It could be that you're the creative one, whatever. I think it's about you as a designer for the curriculum to decide what could be the different kind of status that you are able to earn. And don't worry, you don't have to decide on that already in the beginning. Just choose 1 or 2 or 3 status that you remember that you came up with by designing your curriculum, and then just let it go. Observe the people, the students, observe what's happening, and then you will come up with more status over the time. People and probably some of the students are really going to surprise you with what kind of status perhaps could be important for them, and on the other side, what kind of status or expert status or whatever is available because they decide to go into this kind of topic or whatever. So this is the first thing. This is something how you can enrich the progress tree and your whole curriculum after you have created it. And of course, it's not just, okay, now I've created the progress tree, now I put the layer on it and we are done. The point is, as soon as you come up with these kind of layers, so tools that are providing for the students to be able to go on from this point on, of course, probably you will say, hey, now I have to change the challenges or the activities or whatever. This is the first thing. Now, the second thing is something that we came up with by chance. And but it's a really interesting way, so we have to figure it out even more. But now think about that. Perhaps you will see over time some kind of characteristics concerning the journey that people are going. So let's say you see that most people are doing this and this. Of course they have to, this is the unknown fast. And then they are going there, and then perhaps there, but most people are not using this. Or some people are only going there. Or some people are going there and then straight there if that's possible, and then perhaps even to another branch. And the point is, what I want you to say is, over time, if you look at all these different journeys for every individual student, you will come up with, let's say, one or two main paths, main journeys that people are going. And what I really like to do is to take these journeys and to, if I'm able to do that, to connect this with a real person, with a famous one perhaps, or someone who is really, of course, connected to the topic also. So let's imagine it's about IT. So you're doing an IT curriculum, and now people are choosing to go to code particular languages, and then to look for different kind of topics like, I don't know, blockchain or whatever. And so you can say, hey, this is the Elon Musk way, or this is the Steve Jobs way, or whatever, just as an example, okay? So perhaps you can even make a funny thing out of that. You can think about that in sports, for example, okay? Let's imagine this would be the progress tree for a tennis player, okay? So here's the standard thing, so serve, what you have to do, and then here's about getting, so I don't know how to call it, to be honest, in English, how to serve the first ball. Then it's about volleys, here it's about playing cross or whatever. And so you can see, okay, if you're progressing more and more, and you're even progressing within different kind of disciplines, you're becoming a more complete player. You're able to play in a much more complex way. And then you could say, hey, this is, so if you go this way, and for example, you have these playing volley in a very deep way, you have achieved that, then perhaps you could say, hey, that's the Roger Federer way. I don't know if that's really true, but you know what I mean. And so you can provide names and characters and roles for different kind of ways to go through your progress tree. And this could be something that's like a role model for students. It could be also something where people are trying to develop their own path. So they see, okay, this is the Roger Federer path, this is the Nadal path, this is the Serena Williams path, whatever. And they say, hey, but I did this one, or I did this until this time, it's the Serena Williams, but now I changed it and go this. Now it becomes much more unique to yourself. And so again, it could create perhaps a deeper emotion to what you've already achieved. Okay, this is so far these two ways. If you've done your progress tree, think about subs, status, access, power and stuff. So stuff, access, power and status. This is the way, sorry. And quit stuff in the best way. So only think about power, access, and status. And then perhaps you can come up with these different role character paths, for example. And I'm pretty sure you can do that with a little bit of creativity for every different topic. No matter if you're teaching a language, no matter if you're teaching science, sports, if you're combining these disciplines, as we have talked about the last video, whatever. Think about that. Perhaps it will be more interesting. I'm really looking forward to your feedback. Let me know if this could be something. I'm really eager to learn about that too, especially when it comes to curriculums, just for learning in schools. Let me know what you think. And yeah, see you next time.